Right, what I'm going to show you today is what a tea taster would do in the normal course of his working day, if you like. Now, I've only got here 7 speciality teas, which are very different, which I think will be good for you guys because you'll be able to see really easily what the difference in all these teas is, and I will explain those as I go along. But normally on a working day we'd have counters this length, there'd be 4 or 5 of them, and we'd be tasting hundreds of teas. It's up and down, up and down. But this is just a snapshot of what we would do. So we have all the teas in their boxes, so one can look at the dry leaf. We have the pot, the bowl and the lid. So all these teas are weighed up into these pots, the same measure for each, which in the old days used to be the weight of a sixpence, an old silver sixpence, and I can't remember exactly, I think it's about 1.25 grams. And so each one is weighed the same, and I'm just going to weigh this last one here so you can see it in action. You can imagine when we're doing hundreds of these it takes time, but it's got to be done properly because it's obviously important to the tea taster's decision. So now we're all ready with these teas to liquor them, and we're going to put on freshly boiling water, which, excuse me, I will just need a second just to get up to heat again. And I'm going to put boiling water on all these, and then they are going to brew for 6 minutes, or actually that's what we would normally do. Today for this experiment I'll do it a little shorter than that, about 3 to 5 minutes, and I think that'll be enough for these particular teas because they're all speciality teas anyway. Right, here we go. So we add the boiling water and we put on the lid. Now all these so far are black teas, so boiling water is added, but the last one is a green tea, and with green tea you don't put in boiling water because it can slightly scorch the leaf, and so you either put it in at about 80 degrees before it's boiled or let it go past and then infuse it. And this has been off the boil for long enough now, I think it'll be okay, so I shall liquor that one as well. Put that in there to keep them nice and clean for later when you're all tasting. So we want to give that, we'll give it 4 minutes, which I think will be enough, and then I'll turn them out. So when I come to the tasting and they've been turned out, we're looking at three things. We're looking at the dry leaf, which is obviously important, particularly these because these are all loose leaf teas. They're not going to be hidden in a tea bag, so appearance is important. We're going to look at the infused leaf, which will be turned out in a minute, you'll see that, and we're going to taste the liquor, and all 3 are important. And the infused leaf, when it's turned out, is very interesting. It can give you as much impact as when you actually taste the liquor because it's freshly brewed. And if there's a fault in manufacture, which is something that can happen quite often, because when you think about tea, it's an agricultural crop. You're harvesting the leaf and it's going into a factory and it's all going to be processed. And the whole thing from when the leaf comes off the bush to when it is the finished tea is done in under 24 hours, and then that's it. That is tea manufactured. The only thing that happens to it after that is that it'll get blended, or in these cases it won't because they're single estate teas mainly. But a lot of things can go wrong in that factory. The withering, the fermenting, the rolling, the firing. At every stage it's possible to make errors, and they can be costly errors of course as well because you're producing a lot of tea in a day. And this is, as a London broker, that was one of our most important tasks, was to check the manufacture, and every week they would send us what were called muster samples, and it was a mixture of the teas made that week, and if there's any hint of smoke or overfiring or under withering, we would pick it up immediately and let them know, because you know they'd have people at the factory who were pretty good as well, but it's a classic case of not seeing the wood for the trees. If you're in a factory all day and every day, you don't necessarily pick up things that we would pick up. So our role in that was very important. as well as assessing the value and of course selling it at a later date. I'm now going to start turning these out, as we call them. They've brewed sufficiently. We upend them, and the liquor goes through these fine serrations in the cup, and the infused leaf is trapped in the bowl and will be turned out in a minute, as you will see. You can smell, I mean, this is a wonderful thing about turning teas out. All these smells are coming out to me. I can smell the rose Congo, I can smell the Earl Grey, I can smell what's coming now, the Sang Sushi, the lovely tarry Sang, and the delicate Jasmine pearl. So it's a very interesting cross-section of any of the teas you might come across. Now, we have the teas all nicely brewed, and if you sniff, and you can do this later, infused leaf, you learn a lot from the infused leaf. Lovely second flush Darjeeling there, very delicate, slight muscatel character. Slightly more robust first flush Assam, typical Orthodox Assam tea, a high-grown Ceylon orange pecker from Euralia. It's very delicate, slightly lemony character in that one. Earl Grey, which we all know, oil of bergamot, very clearly on that one. Rose Congo, which I personally love. I think rose works very well with tea. I'll tell you as I taste them a bit more about each one. Sang Sushi, totally different, smoked tea. You either love it or you hate it. And then the lovely, delicately perfumed green jasmine, which I think is delicious. Turning these out is a messy business, but someone's got to do it, otherwise we wouldn't get anything to taste. So we start off with this second flush Darjeeling, the champagne of tea. It's a lovely tea, lovely leaf, beautifully twisted, a lot of tip in that, finely plucked, beautiful aroma, delicate golden liquor, got that hint of grape on it. It's lovely. And then an Assam Orthodox tea. Assam produce mainly CTC tea, but at the beginning of the season, you see these are seasonal countries, unlike, as I said in another thing I was talking about, Kenya, which on the equator grows all the year round. These are seasonal. In North India, the bushes stop flushing about end of November, and the new flush doesn't come again till end of February, early March. And of course those bushes have been rested all that time, so when it does come, the first flush is full of really good quality and character. You have the first flush, which is a bit light, and then the second flush, a bit more strength in it, but still this lovely quality. And that's what you're getting here. So when the quality is at its highest, they make their Orthodox teas for the speciality market. And then of course once the rains come, the monsoons, and the crop increases, they produce their CTC teas, of which they produce a lot. Then we go on to Ceylon, Sri Lanka Ceylon tea, Euralia, high grown, 6,000 feet plus. Certain times of the year you get that wonderful, it's very dry, and they get the winds, and you get this quality in the leaf becomes stressed, produces this exceptional quality. And of course in Sri Lanka it's the mountains that really condition the climate. You have the northeast and the southwest monsoons at different types of the year. So Euralia is at the top and gets the best quality most of the year. Uva on the east gets its top quality in March, April, and in the southwest, in Dimbala and Dikawar, it's later in the year. So they all have their seasons, and in a good season they can produce some really exceptional teas, a bit like wines really. So there's the Euralia. We then go on to Earl Grey, known by everybody. Should be a blend of black Orthodox, Indian, Ceylon, possibly a little bit of China, with oil of bergamot. Of course, oil of bergamot is incredibly expensive today, so a lot of it is ersatz, but it's still good. But the big mistake with a lot of people who produce Earl Grey is that they think they can use poor quality tea and kill it with the scent and people won't notice, and of course you end up with the worst of both worlds. It's the biggest failing. What you should be doing is producing a good quality tea and just introducing a slight bergamot character just to enhance it, which is, in a good one, is what you've got. Which is what you've got there. Then the Rose Congo, again black Orthodox tea, probably China, but it could easily be Orthodox Indian or Sri Lanka with rose petals. And I think rose works very well with tea. It's one of my personal favourites. Then we have the Sang Sushi, deliberately smoked in oak smoke to give it this definite character, which, as I say, is either you love it or you hate it. It's got a lovely leaf there. Ideal with smoked fish, smoked meat, smoked cheeses. Works very well. And then this thing which I have to say I love, the green jasmine, the pearls, hand rolled. When they're infused, of course, they unfurl and you just see the whole leaf. Small delicate leaves, but the smell and the taste, to me, is absolutely delicious. I think that's a great tea to drink on a hot summer's day. It's so refreshing. And I'll often make a pot when I've been mowing the lawn on a Saturday afternoon and sit down and have a couple of cups of that, and it just does the trick. So there's a range, quite a range for you to see, and please do come and have a look.